What about some of these other people that you met? Simone or Colic or that you want to mention any of
the people? Well, they really
come to mind.
Huh?
Maybe share the story about what happened with your washing machine.
Oh. Did I tell it in the first before? Oh. Well, they were this wonderful personality. Her name was Toni Simon, and she was the wife of Professor, what's Simone's first name? Ernst Simon, a very famous philosopher at the Hebrew University who came from Germany. And but Toni was a little busybody. She was the cutest little thing, sort of a roly-poly little lady with a little pigtail in the back, and everybody knew that Toni knew everything and everybody and knew what to do about anything, and just, I guess we would call her the busybody, but everybody loved Toni. And I remember one of the American students had yellow jaundice, and Toni took him in to her house, and when he was in the hospital, they said in those days that the only cure for jaundice was rice. And Toni got hold of rice, and she brought him rice every day, or sent it with her daughter. And unbeknown to her, this daughter had fallen in love with this student. I think it was Greenberg's son. Yeah, Greenberg's son. And the next thing she knew was when she brought him back to help him get well into her own house, that she saw then that these two were having a love affair, and they were going to get married. Anyhow, this little Toni who knew everything and everybody. And I was having a big problem with my washing machine. We had shipped over with our stuff, what was called the Easy washing machine. And the reason we had the Easy, it was the only one on the market. It's as if it were made for Israel, that you could use and reuse the water, so that we could have like 3 washings and a ringer, so that it was, wrung out and the water went right back in. And anyhow, obviously we had advice as to what to bring, and that's why we brought the Easy. So something was wrong and it wasn't working. And of course, you call Toni. So Toni came running right over. She was ready instantly to come when she was called. She comes in and I look, and Toni is shaking this machine, and she's turning it, she's twisting it on its side, and I'm sitting yelling, Toni, don't do that, you'll ruin it. Toni, don't do it. And she says, she has to see. It's got to work. And finally, when Toni gave up and she couldn't find it, it was a terrible frustration for her. But she did find out for us that there was a company in Haifa that would be the only company that would know what to do with it. So it was arranged that we shipped the washing machine on a truck to this company in Haifa. And the verdict was that there was a screw missing. How to get that screw? There was no Easy washing machine company in Jerusalem. So I sent a cablegram to a friend, Ava Shulman, who used to be the wife of the rabbi in the temple at North Shore, and said, urgent, screw, I gave her the number that Haifa had produced, and send with next person coming to Jerusalem. And I got a cable back, and she said, screw en route with Teddy Colic, who at that time was in Ben Gurion's office. See, he wasn't yet a mayor. And so very pleased about that. And then I saw in the Jerusalem Post that Teddy Kollek had just returned from his visit to the States, and I called up and I talked to the secretary. I wanted to make arrangements to pick up the SPU, and she said, I'll check with Mr. Kollek, and she called back and said, Mr. Kollek, put that little box in with the things that he was shipping by freight.
By boat.
By boat. By boat. Which meant, at that point of time, 5-6 weeks. 5-6 weeks. So I guess we did about our wash what everybody else did. You washed by hand and you hung it on the line outside, or you twisted it, or whatever it was. But finally, you know, when Teddy Kollek was here a few months ago, I asked him if he remembered that incident, but he didn't remember it. Why should he remember it? But that was the story of Tony. But everybody had a special little niche in the life of Jerusalem. And,
Tell us the Klutzniks, the Mr. Klutznik story.
Oh, now that was...
No. All right.
But first of all, you know, the tourists. But I will tell you something interesting they used to do with tourists. They had a tourist bureau, and it was it functioned very, very well. When people came, and what they were most interested in is how do people live? What are their homes like? What are schools like? How do they function? And they used to arrange for these tourists to come and be the guests of a family for a day. For example, the people who were assigned to me, they came in the morning and they did whatever I had to do. They were right with me. Mostly they were the women who came to women, you know, or men were assigned to men. And they would be with me when I would take the children to school. They would see what the school is like, and they would go shopping with me and see how it is that I can get my food and what there was available and what was not available. And then they'd come back and have lunch with us, and they could see how I had to prepare a lunch with very few things available, you know. And then in the afternoon, whatever the program was, we did it with the tourists so they could see and meet other people in the community, and that was a wonderful way for the tourist bureau to, you know, to do their work in those days. I can tell you some other funny things that happened. I remember Maurice once was having a telephone conversation. Well, first of all, not everybody could have a telephone. There were very few available. The reason we could have a phone was because it had been ordered by one of the Bendors who owned the apartment, and this Mrs. Bendor had ordered it. She had a photography business, and so the name of the account with the telephone company was Foto Schwarz. Foto Schwarz, her name, you know. And so we'd get calls, Foto Schwarz. Anyhow, so we had this phone. Okay, Maurice got a call one night from a woman who was head of the bonds organization. She was the representative. She was an American living in Jerusalem, and she was heading the bonds. That must have been in already 54, you know. And in the middle of their conversation, they were cut off. So he gets a call from the operator. Hello? Rav Pekarsky? She says, tell me, were you just talking to a lady by the name of, and I forgot what her name is now. And he said, yes. She said, tell me, did I cut you off? And I said, well, I don't know who cut us off, but our conversation was cut off. And he said, the chutzpah of this lady, this American lady, she called me up and she said, I cut you off. There was another time, all dealing with the telephone. Maurice had put in a call during these negotiations and stuff to Rabbi Leleveld. and he put it in so that he could telephone talk to him on Friday night. So in those days you made your arrangements for a long distance call at least 2 days in advance. So Friday afternoon, Louise gets a call from the operator, and she says, "Tell me, did you put in a call to a Rav Zalivelt in America?" Rav Pekarsky. And she's talking to him in Hebrew. For Friday night. Did it occur to you that the Rav there would not answer the phone? So when the call was ended, she calls back and she says, "Hello, Rav Pekarsky. Haya Naim. Was it pleasant, the call?"
Only in Israel.
Nowhere could that happen.
No.
Excepting in those early days, obviously.